Left side of the brain is the analytical side of the brain. It's the side of the brain that is responsible for 5% of thinking. It's the analytical, rational, linear side of the brain. It's the side of the brain that thinks about facts, figures, numbers, statistics, features, and benefits. All the things that people do not buy. Yet it's all the things that most people are trained to sell. The first thing many people will start selling is their resume, or I've been in real estate for 20 years, or I'm $1 million producer, or I'm this or that, or this home has 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms and it's priced right. Those are not the things that people buy. What they buy is how they process the features and benefits, which is all unconscious, which is all right side of the brain. Left side of the brain is linear. It's responsible, again, for facts, figures, numbers, statistics, features, and benefits. It's the part of your brain listening to me now saying, okay, all of this makes sense to me. Right side of the brain, again, is all about process. It's about the blueprints that we talked about earlier. It's about are people internally or externally referenced. It's all about emotions and imagery. So again, I want you to get this. People do not buy features and benefits. They do not. What they buy is how they process, and I'll show you this, how they process features and benefits, which is much deeper than words. So you've got to start selling to people. I heard some people say the words emotional a little earlier. You've got to start selling to people in the way that the brain buys. Because it's all, research has demonstrated buying is all neurological. Actually, in MRI machines, they've actually measured blood flow in the brain, and people are already making decisions about things before they even know they're consciously making a decision about it. Does that make sense to everyone? They're watching where the blood flows when a person doesn't even know they're starting to make a decision, yet they've been posed with the opportunity. All of this comes from the right-hand side of the brain, which is the emotional side of the brain. This is important. This will change the way that you sell. Most of the decisions that you make are not based on conscious reasoning. Most of the decisions you make are not based on conscious reasoning. Back of the room, somebody back there, help me out. What does that mean? Guy in the green shirt all the way to the back. What does that mean?
Most of the decisions you make aren't based on conscious reasoning.
What does that mean in layman's terms? Just bust it down.
Well, they make it based on emotion and subconscious.
Okay, pretty close. What that means is this. All research demonstrated. People buy, and they have no idea why they buy. We don't. We have no clue. She's nodding her head, right? We have no clue why we buy. We think we have a clue, yet research demonstrates with MRI and all this kind of testing, people do not know why they buy. That's why people will tell you, I want A, I want B, I want C, I want D in a home, and you show them A, B, C, and D, and what happens? They still don't buy, right? People do not know why they buy. That's why it's vital now you start thinking in terms of how can I persuade and how can I influence people unconsciously, not analytically. Because if it were analytically, I would say, Jane, you said you wanted a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home here, there, in this price right here you go. This is exactly what you said you wanted. But she's still not buying it. Okay? So that's the shift.
That is so true.
Thank you. I hope so. I hope so.
There's an old saying, buyers are liars and sellers are worse, because they tell you one thing and
it's never that, right?
Never that. Never.
There was some research done. These people were asked to design the perfect Ford vehicle. Tell us what you want analytically in a vehicle. Ford built that vehicle and it never sold. People wouldn't buy it. Okay? So again, this is pivotal for you folks. I want you to start thinking in terms of how do I persuade and how do I influence my client and my prospect at levels that they do not even know is happening. How many of you have ever sat down, seriously, if you've lost a listing agreement, how many of you have ever sat down and said, okay, what could I have done? How are they processing all of this unconsciously? What could I have said differently? What could I have done differently that would affect them unconsciously, their hot buttons, as you said, to get them to buy? Who's done that? Show of hands in the room. And it's okay, because you know what? You haven't been trained to think that way. Again, I've taught this to thousands of people, and they've all said, Jim, I've been to Miller, Hyman, Sandler, Spence Selling, Consultative Selling, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, 2 other trainers in the real estate industry, and every other training program out there. How come no one ever teaches me what you're teaching me? Because again, all those programs are left brain. Look at all the scripts you've been given, right? That's all left brain. It's all words. It's all 7%. It's what people do not buy. You've got to use the words to leverage the right side of the brain. And I'm going to give you words after the break today. You've got to use words to leverage the right side of the brain.